I think lost in all of this with Urban Meyer is the top 25 rankings came out, and normally we chop these things up. Is there anything that you saw that surprised you?
No, I think we're at a point now where, Dan, I think you're going to be able to turn on the top 25 rankings, and you're going to kind of put some of these on autopilot. Now, listen, Urban Meyer's situation kind of changes things depending on what happens with him, but the usual suspects are going to be there. I thought Clemson would have been number one. I thought that would have been that's a mild surprise for me. It doesn't matter in the end. It's something to talk about. But if you're looking at the top 5, top 6, I think for the foreseeable future, top 7, you can go ahead and pencil in Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and Washington. I think those are teams that every year we're going to be talking about. 3 of those teams are going to make it to the college football playoff. 2 at the very minimum. I think 3, most seasons because of the futures of their programs and how they're recruiting and the success that they've had.
If I gave you the top 4 teams, or I gave you everybody else the field, who would you take for the national title?
Oh, the top 4 teams.
If I gave you the top 2.
I'd take the top 2. I mean, hey, what have we seen the last couple of years? We saw Bama versus Clemson, Bama versus Clemson, Bama versus Georgia. Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at Clemson's schedule this year, I find it really hard to believe that they're not going to be there. Jimbo Fisher leaves. Florida State's not going to be maybe what Florida State's been. Maybe there's a learning curve with Willie Taggart. Who else in the league can beat them? I don't see it happening. Even though the last couple of years they've had a Syracuse loss and a Pittsburgh loss en route to college football playoff stuff. I think we're on course. And listen, I'm okay with that in college football. I like having villains. I like having favorites because the bottom line is there's millions and millions of people that tuned into that Alabama-Georgia game going, please lose Alabama, please lose Nick Saban. I mean, there's an enemy to root against, and people don't like when people dominate sports. And we're watching a dynasty at Alabama, and Dabo's obviously done great things at Clemson, and I think Chris Peterson at Washington's got it rolling. I think Kirby Smart's the next Nick Saban in the next era. Not as good maybe, but he's going to have that thing rolling in a similar fashion. I think they're going to be in the mix all over again. So there's definitely there's going to be some villains to cheer against for everybody in college football.
More pressure on Notre Dame or Michigan this year?
Michigan. I think when you look at Jim Harbaugh and his lack of success against his rivals, at some point hey, we're happy to be Michigan and being competitive again and winning 9 games, winning 10 games. It's better than it was. You got to beat D'Antonio. You got to beat Urban Meyer. That's part of your job description when you come to Michigan, and he hasn't done that in any way, shape, or form, and I think that's something that's going to have to change. I think Michigan people want to see a spark on the offensive side of the football, and maybe Shea Patterson provides that this year. Maybe he comes in and everything changes, but I think Michigan definitely – I think Harbaugh's going to have some pressure for the first time at Michigan.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.